Hello and welcome to Matt Loves Eurovision. It's my Eurovision 2024 semi-final 2 qualifiers prediction. Please do click the subscribe button, ring that notification bell and like, share and comment below. Just as I did with semi-final 1, I'm going to make an attempt at a prediction of who might qualify for the grand final from the second semi-final. Now, just to remind you that in this second semi-final, there are 16 songs, so there will be 6 non-qualifiers as opposed to just 5 non-qualifiers that we had in semi-final 1. We also have a different set of automatic qualifiers. So in the first semi-final, we had the Germanic language trio of the United Kingdom, Germany and Sweden, who incidentally all sang in English. This time, interwoven with the actual semi-finalists, we have France, Italy, and Spain. So we have the Romance languages in action, and in fact, we will get French, Italian, and Spanish. So a little bit more variety from our automatic qualifiers in terms of linguistically, at least. So if we have to take a look at the running order for the semi-final 2. This has a particular feature about it, so slightly different to semi-final 1, where you had perhaps what might say a slightly imbalanced 2 halves. You had a lot of very striking stagings and strong contenders in the first half, and somewhat fewer in the second half until we got kind of towards the end with Portugal and Luxembourg. With the second semi-final, we find that we've got another kind of big pop, sort of girly pop banger to begin the show with lots of dance breaks, which is Malta. But you'll notice in the first half of the semi-final, it's almost all female vocalists or female lead vocalists, with the single exception of Switzerland with Nemo, who is non-binary. Now Yako, which is sung by Armenia, and Ladaniva, they are a duo, but the lead vocal is from Yako rather than the other half of the duo. So yeah, we have almost all female soloists, female artists in that first half, and we'll wait to see what that happens with. And we have the Netherlands closing, potentially a big crowd favourite, and very deliberately put in that final place. So that's where we are with the running order. How do I think these qualifications will go? Now, I have a feeling I do think this is a slightly. In some ways, this just feels like a slightly different, more difficult one to call than the semi-final one, and that was bad enough. In the betting odds, there is a very clear top 10. However, and when I say clear top 10, there's a big gap. There's quite a big gap between 10 and 11 in terms of the qualification chances, according to the betting odds. But as we know from last night, at the time of recording, from the first semi-final, that those betting odds can be quite can go quite wrong when it comes to semi-final qualifications. And I think, as we will see, there are some really difficult calls, I think, based on some of the feedback I've had from the people seeing the rehearsal this afternoon, which was the first big dress rehearsal of the show. At the time of recording, the jury show, as it's called, although obviously there are no juries anymore, that is currently in play, but I obviously am not getting feedback from that to inform this, so who knows, my view may change while I'm editing this video. Now, I think there are about 6 at least definite qualifiers in this semi-final. They are, if we just go in their running order, I think Greece. I think this is quite a strong distinctive entry. Greece have a big latent diaspora and Labour vote. I think this one is safe to go through. Switzerland, one of the big favourites, and everything that we've seen so far, I think, in rehearsals suggests that this remains one of the big favourites. No problem going through. I put Armenia into this category, which may surprise some people, but I just think it is a huge crowd pleaser. With the call and response, Armenia have a pretty good diaspora vote, and those diaspora voting countries happen to be in this semi-final. France, Greece. They also have other kind of connections like Albania. They have a neighbour Georgia here as well. I think they're in a very good place to qualify. Then we have Israel. I think that is almost certain to qualify, and I appreciate there will be plenty of people perhaps watching this video that would rather that not be the case, and there may be many people watching this video that are pleased that is the case. But regardless of what way you think about it, I think Israel is a fairly safe bet. There will be a large core of support, I think, for this from in various parts of Europe, particularly France, for example. That always has a sizable televote for Israel, and it's one of the few kind of big female ballads. We had more of those female ballads in the first semi-final, but this one stands somewhat alone. And so again, if you're looking for a female ballad to vote for, people may well vote for this. Then we have Norway, very distinctive and very dramatic. I cannot see, Norway's got a tremendous track record at qualification now. They will go through. And finally, and I've already mentioned this, Netherlands. This will get a huge televote, I'm sure. This could potentially win the televote in this semi-final. We won't find that out, of course, until after the show, after the grand final. But I'm pretty sure that they will go through. So those are my 6, I'm pretty sure, which only leaves us with 4 more to find. If I look at perhaps definite non-qualifiers, I think there are a couple spring to mind. Firstly is Albania. Albania do pretty well on neighbour and diaspora voting, but I just think in this particular case, in this particular year, they will not get that enough. The song is not strong enough. It's in a dreadful running part of the running order. Again, I just don't think it's going to be enough for Albania to get through this time. And the other one, sadly, and they're on a long non-qualification streak, is Latvia. It's quite distinctive in that it's a big male ballad, but you do have France, although they're not being voted for, do provide a presence of another big male ballad in this semi-final. The staging just isn't kind of, it's a bit too standard, I think, and it's not engaging enough, I think, to elevate the song to get people to vote for it in large numbers. So I just don't think we're going to be seeing Latvia breaking that non-qualification streak yet, despite Don's being a very lovely self-deprecating guy. So now we're going to switch back to likely qualifiers. So these things I think are not borderline, but are more likely to qualify than not to qualify. But I'm not as certain at the moment about them. So there's 3 countries here. Austria, the big We Will Rave dance bop. Yes, there's some question marks over just how much live vocal she's doing and some of those issues. But I just think it's too much of a... It reminds me too much of, although it's not as funny as Finland in the first semi-final, it's just got that vibe of, I think this will generate enough vote for it. I think Georgia are going to break their non-qualification streak because they are putting in all the stops with some... It is nothing groundbreaking necessarily in terms of either song or the staging, but it is very dramatic, expensive looking staging. Nutsa can belt out a note or two. There's no troubles with her vocals, and she really sells this. She's got a lot of experience. I think this is where Georgia will get through to the grand final this year. And Belgium are the other one. Now, Belgium started off as one of the big favourites earlier in the season. That has somewhat slipped away. I think there's been some concerns about sort of live vocals. Or the type of staging. I think probably people are exaggerating those a little bit, but it has become a little bit more questionable whether it will qualify. But I do think there's enough people that know about the song and enjoy it, and I think we'll probably vote for it on the night. It's a bit different to a lot of the other songs. I fear that it does get a bit repetitive, but I think for this particular semi-final, it might be enough to get it through across the way. I'm going to flip back to likely non-qualifiers. Again, they've got a chance of qualifying, but are probably more likely not to qualify from what I've seen. Are Czechia. Now, her vocals have improved. Live vocals seem to be a lot better, and this is quite different to other things in the semi-final, which means this could have a chance. But I still think when you're looking at the other songs that are likely to qualify, you then look at it and go, well, I'm just not sure how it's going to go above them. So I think this one is sadly going to be a non-qualifier. And Denmark as well, I'm sorry. I think they have made a big step up this year. I think a big improvement in the kind of the staging. They actually elevated the staging from DMGP, their national final, to the Eurovision stage. But I just again think, I just don't know whether there's going to be enough people that will vote for this for it to stand. Will it stand out enough for people to vote for it? And I think, again, when you weigh it up against the reasons why people vote for the other songs, I think that's where it slips into that likely non-qualification. And then I've got 3 borderline, and 2 of those are going to non-qualify and 1 will qualify. And in my borderline are Malta, San Marino and Estonia. And I think I'm going to take, of those 3, I'm actually going to take, perhaps just people's surprise, because this is the one that is in the top 10 in the betting, and it's at number 10, is Estonia. This is, again, a very, it's a fun, distinctive, memorable song performance. However, I don't know whether it will necessarily be appreciated by all of the voting countries in this semi-final. I think if it was in the first semi-final, it would have more resonance, because in that semi-final you had Sweden and Lithuania and Poland and Finland, who I think might appreciate that more. So I do think that, but I'm not sure that's going to get quite as much resonance in this second semi-final. And so I'm going to put that in non-qualification. And then I'm left with Malta and San Marino. Now these 2 are down as non-qualifiers in the betting, but they both really elevated their staging. I think Malta is looking extremely professional, and although I was not a great fan of the song, this is one of those ones that they are absolutely working the hell out of and doing the best. San Marino too are very distinctive. It's a really striking look they've got. It's a very specific genre that will appeal to people. That will, it's the only kind of sort of big rocky number in this semi-final if you don't include Norway, because that is something slightly different. I really think it's close. I would say it's close to. I still, San Marino will pick up some votes from Spain, definitely, because they're a Spanish band, and potentially they might pick up some Italy. Doesn't always. Malta, at the moment of the 2 of them, I'm going to shift Malta into qualifying and San Marino into non-qualifying. But equally, I think you could swap those around. Because I think they both can appeal, perhaps more than the betting odds are crediting them for at the moment. So yeah, that's where I currently am. I'm almost certain not to get these all right. I think I may get quite a few wrong, because I think there's still a lot of question marks over some of these. And there's a lot of songs which are maybe not sitting in that will they qualify, will they not? Whereas I've only got a few. I've got those 6 definites, and then there's all these a lot of the rest of the songs fighting over these last 4 spaces. So it's going to be interesting to see who will get through. Do let me know what you think, of course, in the comments below, and you'll see me on the other side of the semi-final when we review the results. Take care.